61. So it has been 61 years since I met her. And that first meeting changed my life. You can ask, how did it change your life? Well, to be in front of one who is the greatest person you have ever met, and to have her speak to you, and to meditate with her, and be lifted up into realms that you had no idea about, was, for me, so life-changing that I have aspired to be hers forever. But we all come with a lot of baggage from past lives, and none of us here have had probably less than 1,000 past lives. So we are challenged at this particular time when Mother and Sri Aurobindo have come down and taken a human body, and that is the definition of the divine avatar. The divine who puts himself into a human body. And this has been my experience for so many years, as you can see. So tonight, perhaps, maybe I could answer some of your questions, if you have some. If not, I can rattle on for a little while. But if you have questions, I would be happy to answer what I can. This entire universe is in us. If the divine is everywhere, how can he not be in each of us? And in the stone, Khalil Gibran has written, the only difference in me and the stone is the speed of our heartbeats. We've seen so many great people come. Avatars, Krishna, Christ, so many who have uplifted the evolution. And now it's taken a new phase. And this phase is going to be as different from man as man is from the animal. It will be that great a leap into the supramental world. So I would share with you the experience, part of an experience I had 3 times with Sri Aurobindo. Now, I was 12 years old when he passed away, so I cannot tell you that I saw him in the physical, but it was more real in the subtle physical than in the physical. And he spoke to me, and he had me sit beside him. And I was a wild, wild young man, and it didn't matter to him at all. It was a moment that defined my entire existence. That moment when we can make that inner contact with the highest. We can call him God, we can call him the Lord, we can call him Krishna, Christ, Sri Aurobindo, Mother, doesn't matter at all. But as I was talking with a man this morning, when we focus on that, capital T-H-A-T, something happens in us that lifts us above our common selves. And it lifts us much higher than we normally would be in this life. You've all had a taste of this. You've all been to the chamber, or you've been to the samadhi, or you've been to Ramana Maharshi's place. There are so many places. There are spiritual sites all over the world. And something has drawn you to them that you normally would not have been drawn to. So, why are we here? We are here to realize the divine who is already within us. How do we do this? Well, we have to look very deeply into ourselves, because mostly we live our lives on the surface. Nothing wrong with that. That's part of life. But the moment we can make an inner contact with each other, it changes everything. And that's why I go around and invoke the Mother to bless each of you. That's my work on earth. To bring a divine love into every person I meet. And she has given me that possibility through the name Narad. And I tell you, it is the most beautiful thing Mother could have given me, and the most challenging, because I'm so far away from Narad as yet. And we all know that we're still far away from that supreme realization. So I'm going to give you, in closing, a little bit from Sri Aurobindo on faith. The enemy of faith is doubt. And yet, doubt too is a utility and necessity. Because man, in his ignorance and in his progressive labor towards knowledge, needs to be visited by doubt. Otherwise, he would remain obstinate in an ignorant belief and limited knowledge, and unable to escape from his errors. The heart's faith, emotional beliefs, a sense are also needed on the way, but cannot always be sure guides until they are taken up, purified, transformed, and are eventually replaced by the luminous essence of a divine Ananda, bliss, which is at one with the divine will and knowledge. And yet, faith is necessary throughout and at every step, because it is a needed ascent of the soul, and without this ascent, there can be no progress. Our faith must first be abiding in the essential truth and principles of the yoga. And even if this is clouded in the intellect, despondent in the heart, outwearied and exhausted by constant denial and failure in the desire of the vital mind, there must be something in the innermost soul which clings and returns to it. Otherwise, we may fall on the path or abandon it from weakness and inability to bear temporary defeat, disappointment, difficulty, and peril. In the yoga, as it is in life, the man who persists unwearied to the last in the face of every defeat and disillusionment and all confronting, hostile, and contradicting events and powers who conquers in the end and finds his faith justified, because to the soul and Shakti in man, nothing is impossible. And even a blind and ignorant faith is a better possession than the skeptical doubt which turns its back on our spiritual possibilities, or the constant carping of the narrow, petty, critical, uncreative intellect, Asuriya, which pursues our endeavor with a paralyzing incertitude. So if we have faith, he says it is not only a faith in the fundamental principle, ideas, way of the yoga that is needed, but a day-to-day working faith in the power in us to achieve, in the steps we have taken on the way, in the spiritual experiences that come to us, the intuitions, the guiding movements of will and impulsion, the moved intensities of the heart and aspirations and fulfillments of the life that are the aids, the circumstances, and the stages of the enlarging of the nature, and the stimuli for the steps of the soul's evolution. I will close with this faith is essentially the secret shut of the soul, and it is brought more and more to the surface, and there satisfied, sustained, and increased by an increasing assurance and certainty of spiritual experience. The faith in the divine Shakti must always be at the back of our strength, and when she becomes manifest, it must be or grow implicit and complete. This is from Sri Aurobindo's book, The Synthesis of Yoga. Any questions? Wonderful room tonight. Thank you all so much. You could feel at times the divine grace pouring into this group. I know some of you have felt it. I see the smiles on your face. And why are we smiling? Because we felt that true oneness, the divine presence in each of us.